There is a silence that exists only once in history, a silence between death and life, between despair and hope, between what was and will never be the same again. The tomb is sealed, the stone is heavy. The world believes the story is over, and yet, beneath that silence, something is stirred. Not noise, not movement, but power. A power so great that it will break death itself. Welcome to the Catholic Journey with Deacon Kearns. Today we don't just remember the resurrection, we stand inside of it. And the question is not simply, did Jesus rise? But, what in me must rise? Most people think Easter is behind us, but the truth is, many of us are still living in Holy Saturday, somewhere between loss and hope, between who we were and who we're afraid to become. We carry wounds we haven't surrendered. We carry sins we haven't let die. We carry identities that no longer fit, but we don't know how to let them go. So we linger, half alive, half free, half surrendered. And Christ stands at the entrance of our tomb and says, "Come out." Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, now. But coming out requires something most of us resist. We say we want new life, but do we want the change it demands? Because resurrection is not a gentle upgrade. It is a complete recreation. It means letting go of control, surrendering the version of life we planned, allowing God to interrupt us, correct us, stretch us. It means admitting, I cannot save myself. And for many of us, that is the hardest part. Because we've built lives on self-reliance, on image, on control. But the stone is not rolled away by our strength. It is rolled away by surrender. And once that stone is moved, everything changes. The women came to the tomb expecting death. What they found was possibility. And that same moment exists for us, because the empty tomb forces a decision. Will you go back to what you know, or step into what God is revealing? It is easier to return to old patterns, easier to go back to familiar sin, easier to live distracted than to live transformed. But the resurrection removes every excuse, because now we know change is possible. Freedom is real. New life is not a theory, it is a person, and his name is Jesus Christ. And he didn't just rise to prove something. Jesus saw every part of your life, not the version you show people, the real one. The hidden struggles, the quiet compromises, the wounds you've learned to carry in silence. And he did not walk away. He walked to the cross. And then through it. Why? Because he doesn't just forgive sin. He restores identity. You are not your worst moment. You are not your deepest failure. You are not the voice in your head that tells you you'll never change. You are a son. You are a daughter, called to rise. But restoration requires participation. God will not force resurrection on a closed heart. Which leads us to a question we cannot avoid. If someone looked at your life, would they see evidence of Easter or just routine? Because resurrection leaves a mark. It changes how you speak, forgive, prioritize, spend your time, respond under pressure. It creates a hunger for prayer, a discomfort with sin, a desire for truth even when it costs something. If nothing in our lives is changing, we have to ask honestly, have we encountered the resurrection or just heard about it? And for those who are married, this question deepens even further. Marriage is not just about building a life. It's about preparing for eternity. Your spouse is not just your partner. They are your responsibility in love. You are entrusted with their soul. That means encourage them when they are weak, calling them higher when they settle, praying for them even when it's hard, choosing love when emotion fades, because real love is not just affection, it is sacrifice. And one day you will stand before God, not as two individuals who shared a life, but as two souls who either helped each other rise or didn't. Easter asks married couples, are you helping each other out of the tomb or leaving each other there? And then we come face to face with something deeply personal. God has placed something inside of you, something unique, a way of loving, a way of serving, a way of reaching others that no one else can replicate. But too often, we bury those gifts out of fear, out of insecurity, out of comfort. We say, maybe later, someone else will do it. I'm not ready. But the resurrection removes those excuses. Because if Christ can conquer death, you can take the next step. Your gifts are not for you alone. They are meant to build the kingdom, to bring light into darkness, to help someone else rise. And the tragedy is not failure. The tragedy is never trying. So now everything comes down to this moment. The stone has been rolled away. The tomb is empty. Death has lost its grip. But Easter is not just a celebration. It is a confrontation. A confrontation with the life you are living and the life you are called to live. So stand there for a moment at the entrance of the tomb and be honest. What are you still holding on to? What are you afraid to let die? What part of your life needs resurrection? Because Christ is not waiting in the distance. He is standing right in front of you, wounded, risen, calling your name, not to shame, but to rise. Christ is risen. Death is defeated. The tomb is empty. Now the only question left is this: will you rise or remain?